Once again, welcome. This is Sister Talk on Elevate TV, and my name is Nenoh Ndiema. We have another exciting episode today. Oh my goodness. If you want, Yani, you have to sit put and just listen. Allow the Holy Spirit to minister to you, because what we are going to share is amazing. We have a wonderful woman of God. She is Gladys, an author, a mentor, a publisher, a mother. She will tell us more. But she has quite a story, one that is a bit emotional, but we thank God that everything that we go through is for a purpose and for a reason, and that He uses it for His glory. So thank you for joining us. Please talk to us on our social media platforms. You can find us at Elevate TV Kenya. You can also stream live at Elevate TV. Just go on the website and click on live, and you will watch and enjoy the show with us. So thank you for joining us again, and karibu sana. All right, please introduce yourself. I know I've not done justice. I often don't. Introduce yourself to us.
Hi, my name is Gladys Kishohe. I'm a wife, I'm a mom. I'm an author, like you said. I'm a publisher. I'm also a PhD candidate at KU. I'm taking my PhD in information science.
Organize it.
Yes.
PhD.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So that's it, really.
That's it, huh? So what's the difference between an author and a publisher? Help us, sister.
So an author is someone who writes a book from start to end.
Okay.
But a publisher is the person who makes that book come alive.
Okay.
So you have your raw book, it's probably written, not even typed. So we help you through that whole journey.
Okay.
So you write, then we edit, we design, we print for you, we do the official publications, and guide you through the distribution journey. So an author may not know how to do all those things, but we help them as publishers.
Wonderful. So you have a publishing house, or is it just,
I run a publishing house, Amazing Life Publishing House.
Amazing Life Publishing House. Yes. Wonderful. Wow, you have many hats you're wearing. How are you able to balance everything? Because I hear you claim, no, I know you are right, that you're a PhD, what did you call it? Candidate.
Yes.
People read, people study. How do you manage to just juggle all those balls?
I think I will just say it's by the grace of God.
Amen.
Really. And listening to Him and following how He guides me. So I do a lot of prayer, and I make a lot of to-do lists, very many of them. So there's short term, there's long term, and then I'm asking God, what do I focus on now? So sometimes there's a heavier focus on the family, sometimes there's a heavier focus on the business or on studies. But either way, I just make sure that I'm following what God is leading. Then, of course, with the digital innovations, making sure that I can automate as much as possible.
That's good.
So that technology does a lot for me. And then with having a team at Amazing Life Publishing House, then my work becomes overseeing what's happening. So there are people on the ground doing the editing, the printing, the design. As opposed to when I was a solopreneur and everything was on me.
It was on you.
Yeah, so it's much easier with a team. You get work, like I will do a lot of the marketing, but then when the work comes in, I have a team that I will oversee, and then we get the results out there. So,
I guess we need to get you back here now when we're talking about publishing and writing books. Some of us need to just get those books out.
Yes.
A lot of books are just, I think written in journals, written on just soft paper, just somewhere in our houses, in our rooms, and we really don't know how to go about it. But thanks for that insight. I mean, it's amazing.
You're welcome.
Automate, and
delegate.
As much, that's the word, automate and delegate. Just here now how those two go together. Good.
Yes.
It's nice to have you. And we are so glad that you are open and willing to share your story with us. I bet you were not born a publisher, an author, a mentor. This must be coming from some place, and that's why we just want to go back to the younger you, and just probably just take us through the story of how did you grow up? How was growing up for you?
It was interesting in a way, just the usual childhood, growing up in a home, and with my siblings and my mom. For the most part, that's what I remember. My dad was a bit absent, so that wasn't a very active part of our lives. But my mom brought us up in the Lord. She would tell us Bible stories when we were going to sleep. She'd make sure we go to church, we go to good schools. Yeah, that was my childhood. Before high school.
So you came all the way, got into high school. Dad you would say he was available, but not as much?
He was hardly there. He would visit once in a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was that kind of a relationship.
he was living away?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, his job also, had him living away. So Yeah, which makes a parent today want to be present for children, because that can have an impact on the child.
I bet.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit more about that? Like, what impact did it have on you? What exactly happened that for you is still in your mind so clearly about growing up with or without dad? Let me put it like that.
Of course, now the visits, we would think he's coming sometimes and then he doesn't come.
Oh, yeah.
Or he would come and stay for 2 hours and then go. You know, it would be very short bursts of time together with him. Well, when he would come, he would give us money. So, yeah, when we'd be number 1, 2, 3. Yes. In our house, basically all of us were just number 1, 2, 3. So if you're number 1, you get like a certain amount of money, number 2 a certain amount, number 3 a certain amount. If you're the one with the most number 1s in the family, you know, if you're the only number 1 that term or that mid-term, or, you know, it was really nice.
Wow.
Whatever you wanted for your birthday, I remember wanting a BMX bike those days. That was the thing.
Hey, yes,
and I got it.
Oh, really?
You know?
Nice.
So in terms of resources, he was there.
Yeah.
And that would feel nice.
Okay.
But then sometimes kids would ask me, we saw your dad's car, so why doesn't he stay here? Where is he? What's up? You know, and those would be very difficult questions to answer, because emotionally you're feeling, you're just seeing everybody else with their dad, you know, moving around. So that wasn't interesting. Yeah.
Did you think mom needed to explain a bit more to you? Looking back, just thinking like a mother, if you're in such a situation as a parent, do you think it's important to take the children through or let them guess their way or just keep it? I don't know. What would be the best way?
I think that mothers usually do their best for their children.
Yes, they do.
Especially for their biological children.
I know.
They really do the best that they can. I wouldn't blame her for how it was, because she was doing her best.
Okay.
My mom is a research scientist.
Oh, really?
So she was putting everything also into her career, into making sure she's taking care of us well. And I would imagine now as a mother, I can imagine what she must have been going through. So that must have been hard to explain.
I know.
Plus, I was also relatively young, and we are 5 of us. So
You're a what born?
Second.
Okay.
Second out of 5.
Okay.
So that can also be tricky, because, I mean, five are not 2, you know.
Even
so
2 are a handful, so 5.
Yes, even 2 are a handful. So having the time, the patience to explain to each one at their age group, every question, I don't know. Plus, it just never really came up, because then a bit later, we got a neighbor who was also a single mom.
Okay.
So it kind of looked like it was normal.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So we never really brought it up.
Okay.
Plus he would visit.
Okay. So,
and we have food, we have clothing, we have shelter, we've gone to the best school, so what is the problem?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I think that did not come up, and if it did, she would have to remind me.
You don't remember any of those?
No, not such discussions really. But so, of course there'd be the questions in my mind.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I imagine now you were you working very hard to impress dad, even if he was not there? Because that's what he would reward anyway. Like, that's what he would come to ask. What number were you?
I actually wasn't working for him.
Okay.
I just love education anyway.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I'd have stopped studying when he died, you know.
Oh, okay.
But what I remember is writing him letters, telling him to come home, come and stay with us, come and live with us. That I definitely remember. And he didn't respond to any of those letters except one. Okay. And in the one that he responded, he said he wouldn't be able to come.
Okay.
So, that was it really.
So that was the last time you wrote?
Yeah, because now what do you do after that and you're a child?
Yeah.
You are hoping and hoping and hoping, and he's not there. Yeah. That was very sad.
So you've mentioned that at some point he passed on. Was there something significant that happened there, just either before he passed on or even as you went into high school?
For me, when going into high school, I remember because I was called to the Alliance.
Oh, so now so sorry.
We can say so sorry. Went to Alliance. Yeah, that's why you throw that in.
Yeah, I know, it has to fit somewhere.
Yes. I remember going to his office, waiting, hoping that he would also come with us to go to school. Okay. And we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and you can tell we waited, and we ended up going to school, you know, alone, just my mom and my auntie and myself. Okay. And I think what that stuck in my mind was, I'm still not good enough. I've gone to the best school in the country, and it's still not good enough for you. Like, you can't come, you can't spare a few hours, come take me to school. So there was that, like, shame that, now what do you call that feeling of not being good enough? It hurts. And you've done the best. I mean, how many people are going to Alliance those days? Because those were the days when they would pick kids from all over the country, literally. So if you're picked from your town, you're probably the only one, you know? And even then, I wasn't good enough to warrant his attention. Yeah. So anyway, later in the year, when I was still in Form 1, he passed away. And that was difficult, because then that was the end of all hopes of ever having a relationship with him, ever having him come to live with us, or, you know, having, like, it was all over. There was nothing else to hope for in terms of having a father. And that broke me. And also because I couldn't talk about it in school. Only, I think, the teacher on duty knew, and the deputy principal and principal, I think, just those. Yeah, and I think the teacher on duty was our class teacher. So, yeah. So there wasn't really much talk about it. And in fact, I don't remember talking with any single person in high school, in the school compound, about what I was going through in terms of losing a dad. So that was quite something. It was very sad. And so years later, after high school, it led me to that search of who can I call dad? Who can be my father figure? Who can I go to for some sort of support and strength and covering, you know? Because as a young girl, you want your giant father so that he can beat all the boys, and he can, you know, he can take care of you somehow.
You're so beautiful.
Tell you you're beautiful, you're pretty. You want to have a father-daughter dance on your wedding day. You're hoping for something.
Yeah.
There's a tenderness that the strength of our father gives a young girl. Because, you know, you can be daddy's little girl because he's your power. And it also gives you confidence, you know. So when you don't have that, and then you can't talk about it, and everybody seems to have a father and to have a good life, it throws your world into a whirlwind of sorts. And what can you do? You know, it's difficult. So I remember looking for a father figure for a long time. And receiving quite a few rejections, you know. And people not wanting to be my father figure, not wanting to be there for me. Or those who would have wanted, then they wanted something. Like, there are very few people who are willing to actually just be present in my life as a father figure. For those who agreed, oh my God, I'm so happy. You know, we're still friends to date. But some of the journeys were just difficult. The rejection hurt a lot. You know, you want to ask this person to be your father figure, and they're like, but you're my sister in the Lord. I'm like, I'm a third of your age. You know, I'm just looking for a mentor or someone to be there for me.
Yes.
Or, you know, just whatever kind of excuse would be given. Yeah, would be very, very painful.
You sound like you have understood what that cycle was, or what you were looking for. At the time, did you really know what you were looking for? And you say you were looking for a father figure.
Yes,
did you know the gaps that you had because of not having your dad, like, being present, and then eventually now him passed on?
I wouldn't say I was looking for all the rest of it, but I remember asking, like, I really need a father figure when I would approach the people that I wanted to be my father figure.
Oh, you just asked them on
yeah, straight up. But just like when you say you're hungry, you don't know that you don't usually say, I want a certain kind of food with so much salt. But if you get food without salt, you know, it doesn't have salt, you know.
Yes.
But I didn't know that whole meal, that whole package that was there. What I knew for sure was that I just wanted a strong man in my life. But, you know, if I had just gone to God directly, that would have been fine. Because God will never die. God will never leave me. He'll never forsake me. I'll always be safe with him. But then I didn't know that. So, and I think what I was looking for, without saying what it was even to myself, was that protection. A place I could call home, and a place of rest and power from which I could shoot out into the world. Because if you don't have that kind of backup, then you kind of walk in fear all the time, and uncertainty, insecurity. So I wouldn't say I was going to someone thinking, I want someone to love me, give me peace, give me confidence. No. But I knew there was a gap I was trying to fill. Just that now, looking back, I can tell what that gap is. I've studied a bit of counseling psychology, so I can tell what that gap was. But then I didn't know what it was. Yeah.
Now, let me take you back a bit to the high school experience. What did that then, what effect did that silence, I would call it, have on you? Because you were not talking, you were going through a lot of emotion, and, you know, you're trying to still manage school and schoolwork and the pressure that comes with it. What did that do to you?
It was difficult. I would be sad. I would want to talk about it, but I think it would tire people because I wouldn't really say what it was that I was going through or that was making me sad. But I would want to talk about those feelings, but it was so, it must have been exhausting to people because you don't want to say the thing itself. You're beating around the bush. They don't really want that. So people get tired of you and they leave you. And I remember at some point actually being very suicidal. Then a certain teacher got to know and we got to talk about it a bit. She called my mom to school. They would have meetings, But it was difficult. It's a very lonely journey. There's this thing that you can't talk about because also if you talk about it, it shows that you're less than. Because everybody else has a father figure.
Because I was thinking, I need to know why.
Yeah, everyone is being taken out by their dads. I could only share the few stories I could remember from where he'd taken us when he was alive.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to be less than. You already feel less than.
Yeah.
Let's go back to you're the top at your school from around the country.
Thank you.
You come to school and then you're 180 of you who are the top kids in your schools. And then you come and you do your exams and you're number 72. That doesn't, you're
it
like,
humbles you.
What happened? I mean, if you went back to your school, you'd still be number one. But you have Kenya 1 with you, you have,
So you're 72
that
top.
also plays a number. Plays a number on your head and on your psyche. And then on top of that, you're also less than.
That's true.
It's a difficult thing. And then, of course, there are all these adolescents, hormones, and you're growing up. Your body changes. Some come later than others. So there's that whole madness. So it was a painful time, painful and sad. I don't think it was also very easy for people to tell because I was in the right clubs. I was in basketball, I was in Rangers. I really enjoyed commanding at parade. Yes, and all these other clubs, German and science and math. Those were nice things to do, but just because you're busy doesn't mean that deep inside your heart, things aren't boiling, in a fierce kind of way.
I tell you.
Yeah, and when you go to sleep, you and your pillow, they're the only ones who know that story, Yeah.
So you could say, can I call it mourning, or that was not even mourning? Do you think it took you a very long time to just go through that sorrow and sadness and that heaviness of heart and carry it along? How long do you think? Can you even give us just a picture of how long you carried that sorrow, that silence, that...
I'm the second born in a family of 5. And so then I had to be strong, or I felt I had to be strong for my younger ones.
You have an older sister or older brother?
Older brother.
Okay.
But as a firstborn girl, there's always that thing.
Yes, there
So
is.
trying to be strong, trying to do stuff nicely and move on. 10 years later is when it really, really hit.
Are you serious?
That's when I remember crying for 2-3 days in a row and not going to work. That's when I wailed. I bawled it out. I cried it out. And that was also in the mix of looking for a father figure. I think there was an assumption that these men of God had been seeing, elders in church, home church fellowships, those kind of people I think there was a bit of comfort there. But then you discover no one is saying yes to you, to be actually your father figure. So when I crashed at that time, it was a real crash.
Yeah,
it was
10 years?
10 years later, it all just came out. Yeah.
Like you weren't even expecting it. It finally just, you couldn't hold it anymore.
I couldn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, before we go into whether you ever got to the place where now you talked about it or sought help or all that, I just want to finish up on that part of dads and especially their impact in the girl's life, yeah? They say dads are destiny, I don't know if it's for the boys also, but for you as a girl, suppose, I know we cannot live in wishful thinking or we cannot live in regret, but suppose you were given a chance to ask something from your dad and for him to really give you, what would that be? What would you want your father to be to you? Or who would you want your daddy to be to you? So that some daddy out there can really probably adjust or see how to be a blessing more to their daughters?
I think I would say the first question would be why? Why weren't you there? Where were you? Why? I think the next thing would be to just say, love me, be here. The money is good, thank you very much, but I want you.
Yeah.
We weren't lacking anything with my mom. We were fine, thank you very much. But that presence, that love, that attention, let me know I'm important enough for your day. I mean, when he was dying, he came back home to die at our place. So
How about that?
I know, right? So how about living your day with me? Don't tell me at the end of the day it's going to be okay. Can you share your day with me? Am I worthy enough of your time, of your life, of your presence in my life? Can I mean something to you? Do I mean anything to you? You know, I'd want to know the why, and then can you do these things for me? Who am I? You brought me here. I mean, I didn't even ask to be here, to be in all this pain. So why did I come here? You know, answer those questions for me. How much do you love me? Do you represent God in my life? Because I can tell you, at some point that made me just not want much to do with God. It also made me say, I don't want to get married because this is what I'm going to be living out. And I was very averse to men. Very, very averse to men. So, you know, what is marriage? What is family? What is this? Tell me, how is life supposed to be? Because I think wives work very, very hard. I saw my mom and she gave her all. So if she was doing all this and I was still in this, you know, sense of being lost and confused, how much better would it have been with him around?
That's true.
You know,
That's
dads
true.
give meaning to life. I mean, moms, yeah, we're awesome and all. But there's a thing about dads.
Yes.
There's a part, there's a rest with dads because you feel like you have this lion in your home and you're fine, you're safe. And without that, I think you end up putting your guard up. So dad, if he was here, why do I have to put my guard up? Where are you? Why aren't you here to protect me? Yeah, so just be here, protect me, let me know I'm important to you, I'm important to God. And for fathers out there, if your girl child, if your boy child doesn't have you as a father, they're going to ask very tough questions. And they're going to be given answers by the world. Because asiyefunzwa na mamaye, hufunzwa na ulimwengu. So what you're not taught at home, you know, basically.
That's true.
They're going to get the answers from the wrong places. And they're going to have a really, really tough time. But also for girls, now that I'm a girl, who are out there looking for a father figure, please go to God. He'll never die. He'll never let you down. He'll never leave. He's perfect. Because I also know that there are fathers who are present at home, but they are abusive.
You wonder why they are present.
Yes. So it's better to not have a father than have one who's wounding you right, left, and center. Maybe in a way, a gap is better than that pain. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. We need to take a short break. Wow. I mean, if you're listening and you're wondering, whew, that's a lot. And yet we have a bit more for you just right after the break. But what I think we are getting from this is, before you become a father, in case you're watching this, I know it's sister talk, it's a ladies thingy, but in case you're watching this and you are a father or a father-to-be, please count the cost before bringing someone into the world and then quickly abandoning your responsibility, because it leaves a gap. And the person looks for a father everywhere, and of course the world does what it does to us. So that is probably a point for us to note. So far we have shared the story, and I mean, in case you just want to give us feedback, you want to talk to us, you want to ask questions, please go on our social media platforms at Elevate TV Kenya and just talk to us, chat with us, and we'll be glad to hear from you. So we are taking a short break, but we'll be right back after the break.